Okay, so I'm going to turn the floor over to Trustee Hassan, who would like to speak. Please go ahead.
Through the chair, thank you, and good evening, everyone. So today, I'm honored to bring forward a motion that asks for the Toronto District School Board to commit to developing and implementing a system-wide comprehensive strategy to address Islamophobia. I want to start by thanking the many community members and agencies who have expressed their deep support for this motion. Thank you for the emails. Thank you for the phone calls, the text, and the casual conversations on the street. I'm bringing this motion forward on your behalf. I also want to thank the staff at TDSB. This motion is in no way a judgment of their work. Our staff is to be congratulated for the excellent work that they have done over many years to make TDSB leaders in the work of equity and human rights, as I'm grateful to them for that. This motion is being brought forward in a timely manner, as we are witnessing an increase of Islamophobia throughout the GTA and Canada. We're all aware of the previous attacks against Muslims, including the one that took place in a Quebec mosque and in London, Ontario, which have resulted in the loss of precious lives. More recently, there have been consistent attacks on mosques throughout the Greater Toronto Area, including 2 recent attacks in Markham and a local mosque that I frequently attend in York Southwest in Tawfiq Islamic Center off of Weston Road. These incidents are not new. They are only being exacerbated during the holy month of Ramadan. Once again, I would like to acknowledge the hard work and dedication put forth by the Human Rights Office, the equity team, and everyone who's worked on the current broader anti-hate strategy. However, in order for us to effectively tackle Islamophobia, it needs to have its own space, and we must name it and address it in a separate strategy that can heighten accountability on the current broader strategy. We're all well aware of the data behind Islamophobia in the TDSB, and we have that data again right here in the Human Rights Report being presented today. In addition, the Muslim communities of Toronto continue to ask for accountability and more measures of commitment. And that's why Trustee Shan and I are bringing this new strategy forward. I am a trustee who identifies as Muslim. And everywhere I go, I continuously hear the need for this separate strategy. I'm representing those Muslim voices, voices from people who have been absent from this table. And the best people to speak to their oppression are people who hold those identities and lived experiences. The Muslim community is telling me loud and clear that this is a strategy that will bring focus to this concern, heighten accountability, and respond to what I am being asked for at the local level in York Southwestern and Toronto at large. I also want to reiterate that this strategy is by no means meant to diminish the current work by staff or by taking away from others in any capacity. It's about adding and building on what we already have. So as I bring this motion forward, I also do so with a deep understanding and respect for staff workload. Once again, this motion is not intended to make staff work even harder than they are now, but perhaps it's time for us to work differently. We know the importance of naming and specifically identifying the things we want to improve. We have examples of that right here in this boardroom. A number of years ago in this boardroom, many of us watched the work of a task force to address the achievement of Somali students at a time when results for Somali students were at an all-time low, and young men were dying violent deaths, what seemed like daily. Today, those results have improved to the point where Somali-speaking students achieve close to the highest levels in the board. The work of that group is part of the reason why I stand here today as the first ever trustee of Somali descent. Because we identified a problem and made a specific plan to address it with accountability built in it. It was focused, it was intentional, and it included communities. Today, that is what we are asking for with students who identify as Muslim. A plan to address issues of serious concern with accountability built into it. A plan that includes deeper data collection and community engagement. A plan which recognizes that our communities are incredibly diverse in and of themselves. A plan which addresses Islamophobia in creative ways that include student voice, like we heard tonight. A plan which addresses the fact that students who identify as Muslim have increasingly and disturbingly been victims of community violence. A plan which acknowledges that there are as many Muslim young men in prison today as there has ever been. A plan which will make a community feel as though we see them and value them in the face of the discrimination that they face every day. A plan which highlights and learns from the brilliance that Muslim students and staff contribute to TDSB and the broader community every single day. The specific focus which will come from this motion will facilitate this work in a clear and focused way. And lastly, to other communities, I do not want you to feel that this work will be done at your expense. I do not want to contribute to a competition between marginalized groups. I believe all communities should have a specific plan which addresses the needs that are specific to them. Again, not to do more work, but to do work differently. We've worked in certain ways for a long time. I believe this motion is a call for us to work differently based on community and student voice. And I'm asking you, my fellow trustees, to support this motion tonight as demonstration of our commitment to name and address Islamophobia in a manner which our community feels would be the most beneficial. Thank you.
Trustee Vice Chair